Ayo, Shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yehovah, and the Son, Yehoshua. This is Chris Holy Man FX. All right, so now, I did a video like this a while back on my page. It was an old video, man. It was a little rusty and everything, so I decided to do some more research and, going a little more information to be specific about these different type of DAWs, right? Because it's very important to find out what DAW that we need to use or what should we buy, right? What I learned doing this music for 26 years, bro, is that, like I was telling people before, it's all about what you do. A lot of people debate about DAWs. A lot of people say my DAW is better, my DAW is this, my DAW is that, boom, boom, boom. I get all that, right? But I had to sit back and start asking people like, yo, listen, what exactly what you do for you to say that? A lot of people tell you that they hobbyists. They'll tell you that they only producers, they only mixing engineers, they only do mastering, they record bands, they record drums, like real live drums, they record a live set, so based on what you do dictates what type of DAW that you need. Like this is real. Like what I noticed that a lot of these different DAWs out here, they dominate in different things. They focus on one thing. They might can do many other things. They can record, master, mix, make beats. Most damn near every DAW can do that. But some DAWs are very dominant in certain situations or specific features, right? For example, FL Studio is very dominant with making beats. You can record in there. You can mix in there, but it might have a different approach that a person who only record artists and do sessions, they might need certain features that FL Studio might don't have. And the only way you'll understand that if you use other DAWs, right? If that's what you do and you decide to use other DAWs and you tap into them, that's when you understand. You're like, okay, damn, I see what's missing. I see what I need if I'm gonna be an engineer who only record people. If I'm gonna be an engineer who only master people. Then again, you got people who all arounders like me, right? So you got DAWs that focus on all around things. But like I told y'all, just to make it simple and clear, the information I grabbed and got together right here, right? What I got together right here, it's pretty valid, right? If you disagree, make comments at the bottom, but just keep it respectful. Also, if I missed out on a DAW, drop it down at the bottom of the comments and ask me about that DAW. I'll give you the information, much as I can and everything. But before I go any further, but like I said, keep in mind though, this not about a debate about what's the best DAW, bro. This is about what DAW do you need based on what you do. You get what I'm saying? It's simple as that. If you're a producer, some DAWs you might don't need because they focus on recording, mixing, and mastering, right? Even though you need those things, but like I say, every DAW they dominate and they have a focal point where they focus on certain key things like post-production. You get what I'm saying? So this is gonna help y'all figure out what DAW you need and everything. So let's go down the line right quick. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start off with the all-around DAWs. The all-around DAWs is like, they kind of like do everything. Damn near like, for recording, mixing, MIDI, scoring, sessions, commercial work, stuff like that. They all-arounders. They still could be weak in certain areas, but they more of an all-around DAW, right? So number one is Cubase. This is not an order. We got Cubase. You got Logic Pro. You got Fender, which used to be Studio One, Digital Performer, and then you got Sampler Tools, Sequoia, and you got Nuendo. Nuendo is made by Steinberg. Nuendo is so that's a super all-around DAW. So these is the DAWs that's all around us. That means that you can go inside this DAW and you can get a pretty good taste of every aspect of every situation that you need when it comes to music. So if you're looking for that type of situation, then these is the DAWs that you want to mess with, right? All right, so now, if you only want to deal with audio focus, where it's kind of like, engineers first DAWs, where they are built around recording, editing, comping, mixing, and mastering. So these type of DAWs, they do all those things, but they focus less on sound design, right? They don't too much focus on sound design. But when it comes to recording, editing, comping, mixing, and mastering, they focus on that, right? So you got Pro Tools, right? You got Caucus Reaper. You got Harrison Mix Bus. You got Waveform Pro, right? So what else? So those DAWs right there are audio focused, engineer first DAWs. So again, before y'all getting y'all feelings and riled up about DAWs that y'all don't fucking own, that you don't own the company, I mean, listen to the keywords that I'm telling y'all. These DAWs can do other things, but this is their main focal point. This is where they dominate in, right? That's like, that's what they dominate in. So those DAWs that I mentioned, they are audio focused. So when it comes to audio editing, they're on a whole nother level with that. So now let's keep going. So when it comes to beat making DAWs, producers, right? You got FL Studio, right? Ableton Live, Bitwig Studio, and Reason Studio. So these DAWs are dominant in beat making and production, right? These DAWs are the ultimate dominant in beat making. Yeah, you can make beats inside, in many DAWs, but this is what they focus on more. And they probably be weak in the other situations. You get what I'm saying? So now let's keep going. When it comes to modular, experimental sound design DAWs, like DAWs that want to use sound design, experimental stuff like that, right? These are people who want to build devices, patches, and systems, and create unique workflows. This is the DAWs that y'all need. You got Reason, right, which is the rack joint. You got Bitwig. You got Max MSP, not a DAW, but it's a traditional sense, but used as one. Then you got VCV rack with DAW integration. That's modular synthesis environment. So that's when you want to deal with that type of stuff. You get what I'm saying? So when they dominate in modular, creating an A, B, C, and D. Also Ableton Live, Ableton Live, with that part. So again, y'all, before you make comments, just listen to me carefully. These DAWs are dominant in these situations. Other DAWs can probably do it, but they more dominant. And the only way you'll know if you grab these DAWs and you test these things out, you compare them like I did. All right, so now let's move along. When it comes to film and post-production, right? That's mean built for scoring, ADR, and surround and sync, right? That's Pro Tools. Nuendo, right? Nuendo, made by Steinberg, Yamaha. That's the big brother of Cubase. Digital Performer, Logic Pro. So when it comes to film, and also Magic Sampler Tool, Sequoia. When it comes to post-production, it ain't too many DAWs that do post-production. They got those features, right? So that's Pro Tools, Nuendo, Digital Performer, Logic Pro, and Magic. It's called Magic Sequoia. That's what it's called. All right, so when it comes to mastering focus, again, remember, you can master all these DAWs, but some DAWs are on a whole nother level of mastering, right? So these are the DAWs that specialize in mastering, sequencing albums, delivering different formats, A, B, C, and D. So these DAWs are Steinberg Wavelab, right? Steinberg Wavelab. That's actually same company with Nuendos and Cubase. Fender, which used to be Studio One. And Sampler Tool, Sequoia. That's Magic Sequoia. I think they changed the name from Magic's. But that's Sequoia. So they on the ultimate level of, the mastering tip. And I'm telling you, Sequoia definitely is in Studio One and Steinberg Wavelab. They on a whole nother level with that mastering shit, though. And that's for people who just only want to master. Again, you could use other DAWs if you want to and accomplish it, but they just gonna have certain features that you ain't gonna think about And when you see them, you be like, oh shit, damn, I really need that. You see features that you never thought you would need. All right, so we're going to go to entry-level, beginner-friendly DAWs. This entry-level, beginner-friendly DAWs. Simplified, accessible, and often free. That's GarageBand, Cakewalk by BandLab, Audacity, and Soundtrap, right? These are the most friendly DAWs, they cloud-based, entry-level type joints, like I say, friendly DAWs and everything. So if you need that. So just to wrap this up in a nutshell, some of the DAWs that I mentioned, I'm gonna just break down like, what category they really in, for what I already have. Again, if I didn't mention the DAW, just hit me up, on these the ones I did the best research in. But if it's a DAW that I didn't say, hit me up about it. Cubase, all-arounder. Studio One, which is Fender, all-arounder, mastering. Reason, producer, modeler. FL Studio, producer. Ableton Live, producer, performance. Pro Tools, audio focus, post-production. Logic Pro, all-arounder. Reaper, audio focus. They dominate with the audio stuff. Bitwig, producer, modeler. Nuendo, post-production. Wavelab, mastering. Digital performer, all around plus scoring, right? So that kind of sums that up right quick, to kind of give you an idea like what you need to buy and everything. If you got more questions about it, man, just feel free to hit me up and I can explain it a little better, a little more. But like I said earlier, what I was saying earlier, keep in mind, people, a lot of these DAWs that I mentioned, they still can do some of the other things. This is what they dominate in and what they focus on more, right? So it's all about what you're looking for. It's all about what you need. It's all about what direction you want to go. So therefore, that's what you have to do to figure it out. Y'all be good. Shalom.